Hey guys, it's Justin here. I wanted to make a video today about something a little different than my usual recent videos. I wanted to make a video about God and about how I have come to the personal conclusion that the Bible is correct comparative to the other major holy works in existence in the world and are currently used today, such as the Quran and such as maybe the Buddhist holy text and the Hindu holy texts. So it hasn't. I didn't grow up as a Christian. I grew up just like any normal kid would grow up. We prayed, we prayed before we ate our food, and we prayed before bed, but we didn't go to church. And I had the concepts of God in my mind, and I had seen a lot of my family members practice Christianity, but a lot of my family members were basically agnostic or atheist. They really didn't have any concept or ideas about God that they were sharing or that they personally practiced with. So that's how I grew up. I'm driving right now. Probably shouldn't be doing a video. I am not in California, by the way, just in case anyone's watching. So that was my journey as a kid, and I grew up thinking that the Bible is too old to be, to be accurate, and that over many generations the stories probably had become twisted, and I believed that God exists, that God existed. At that point, when I was about 16, 15, around that age, I started really thinking about God a little more. I did have a sense that God existed, and I did have a sense that God controls, the world in some way, shape, or form. But didn't actually become a Christian until I was about 19. And I joined the Army when I was 17. And when I was in basic training, I remember, it was, it's a tough experience. It was difficult because it was just like you never got rest. You are always being harassed by the drill sergeants or having tasks to do. But the only time we were allowed to go and be away from drill sergeants were at church. So I remember actually going to church so I can get some sleep, because there are no drill sergeants around to tell me that I couldn't sleep. So I started going to church in the military in basic training. And I started going to Catholic church because my dad back then he was primarily Catholic, and I grew up going to an Anglican church, which I think is Catholic. I'm not 100% sure about that. And so I started going that, and then I actually started going to the Christian non-denominational services because it made a little more sense to me. And throughout basic training, I would go to church, not every Sunday, but enough Sundays, pretty much. When I could, when I was not out in field rotation, doing a field training exercise, I went to church. But I didn't become a believer, but I did remember getting a free Bible, and I kept that Bible with me. And then toward my next duty station in Korea, I was drinking and I was partying. I'd previously had been a pretty hard partier in high school. Experimenting with all different kinds of stuff, and got me into a lot of trouble. And that's kind of one of the reasons I joined the military, to get away from that. And I think it was God's providence at that time that He brought me to the military, because I remember driving home one day. I was on drugs. I was driving home, and I just had prayed, God. Just a very sincere, one of my first very sincere prayers. I think probably my first sincere prayer as a conscious adult, teenager adult. I remember praying, God, can you help me? If you exist, can you help me? Because I can't help myself. And then that was it, and that was my prayer, and then I just kept on driving home. And then a series of unfortunate but very fortunate events happened where I got several speeding tickets, and my license was going to be taken away. When I was 17, my license would have been suspended for 3 years because I had like 4 or 5 speeding tickets, and the judge was like, I tried to fight one, like, oh, I wasn't going that fast, and then the judge was like, well, let me see your record. Well, holy crap, you got 5 speeding tickets, this is an ongoing problem. I'm going to suspend your license. So suspended it temporarily for 30 days, and I think I'm not exactly sure how that worked, but I got it suspended for 30 days, and the next time was I would have gotten it suspended, and he told me till I was 21. And so then I got another speeding ticket months later when I was a senior, and I was like, I'm freaking screwed. I'm going to be stuck up there in a small little town, Fraser Park, where I used to live. I didn't go to school there, but I lived there. A town of like 1,500 people with my dad, who I had a terrible relationship at the time with. And I was like, I'm going to go crazy. I had already been busted by my dad for using drugs, and I was like, dude, I'm so screwed. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I had a girlfriend at the time. She was like, hey, you can live with me. I'll take care of you. And she was, she had rich parents, and they were super cool. And they were like, yeah, we'll accept you. But she had some problems. But, she was, I was dating her at the time. I was super into her. It was a short relationship, though. She was younger than me. She was like 2 years younger than me. I was a senior. She was like a sophomore. But anyway, yeah. But anyways, so that was the story. And so I ended up going to the recruiting office. I was like, dude, I went by myself. And my dad encouraged me previously, but I was like, oh, I have asthma. Stop contacting me, because I didn't have any interest in the military. Then I went to the recruiting office by myself and talked to them, and they showed me some videos. And I was like, yeah, dude, I want to join the military. Anyway, that was the first move of God in my life. I prayed to him, and I said, if you're real, if you exist, help me, because I can't help myself. I'm in a situation I can't help myself. And I was sincere about that prayer. And he led me, and he kind of created a situation where I had to go to the military. And then he created a situation in basic training, obviously, any basic training. I was like, dude, I got to get away from these drill sergeants. I got to go to church. And I went to church. And over the course of the year, I was at Fort Knox. And then I went to Korea, stationed in Korea for a year. In about first 6 months of that, I was drinking heavily, got busted for drinking, underage, in the military. Got a little write-up, a little punishment, nothing severe. And then while I was doing that, I continued to drink throughout that year, but I was just a lot more careful. And it was a great time. I'm not gonna lie, it was a really cool time in my life. But it was a really kind of depressing time too, because I was away from my family, and I was kind of trying to reach some solace and have some peace. And I really wanted to have some peace, kind of, in my life. So, kept going to church. Then I read the book, A Purpose-Driven Life. Forget who, it's a pretty famous Christian book. It came out around 2006, or maybe before that, a little bit before that. So I started reading that, and I was like, yeah, dude. And so I started going to church every Sunday, but I'd be drinking on Saturday, going to church on Sunday, and people would be looking at me like, dude, this guy smells like beer. I know it, because they're all in their suits, and they're all kind of judging me and stuff. And but whatever, it was, I went to church, and I was, God started to move in my life again. And then I got back together with my wife. And yeah, so let me fast forward a little bit, because I don't know if you guys are even interested in all this details. Anyway, God started moving in my life, moved over, got married, moved over to Fort Irwin over there in the training center for the Army. Did that for about 18 months, and I started listening to K-Wave, Chuck Smith's Chuck Smith from Calvary Chapel, his radio station out in Barstow. It covers a lot of areas, and I don't know where else it is. I'm sure it's probably nationwide. And I started listening to Greg Laurie, and then I got Greg Laurie's New Believers Growth Packet, and I remember praying that prayer with Greg Laurie at the end of one of his sermons. Lord, please come into my heart. I know I'm a sinner, and I know that I accept that, and I understand that my sin separates me from you automatically. But come into my heart, and that's it. That was the prayer. Come into my heart. I want to be with you. I want you to be in my life and change things for the better. So that's kind of, sorry about that. So that's what I prayed, and it turned everything around for me, and I had a lot of questions. A lot of questions about God and about the Bible and about the historicity of the Bible. Is it accurate? I had so many questions, just like anybody would. And I have to say, after studying and reading the Bible cover to cover, I think I read it cover to cover at least 3 times, and I've skipped around a lot and read a bunch of stuff and heavily studied the Bible from 2007 or 2008 to like 2012. It's 2013 is when I was really deep into studying it, and everything was new, and I was just getting all that info, and I answered all of the questions. I didn't answer it personally, but I found the answers to all the questions that I had. And so that brings me to the point of this video. One of the biggest things is that how could the Bible be real? How could 7 days of creation, Noah's Ark, how does that all work into science? Science is right, and it seems to be contradicting the Bible. Well, that's when I kind of found, in my search, where I found reasons to believe. And I started listening to a program on the radio, and it was a program called Bible Info Brokers, or that's the website, and it's Bible. It's Dr. Craig Hawkins, EZD Fulton, and some other guys on the radio program. He's a professor of philosophy, and he's got like multiple PhDs and masters. And you'd call in, and he'd answer your question for you. And it's still alive today. The program's still here today. So he answered a lot of questions, a lot of deep theological questions I had. He pointed me to the right direction, to a lot of good resources. But for me, the biggest question that I had was, how can I trust the Bible? I want to trust it. Prove it to me. Prove to me the Bible's real. And let's start at the beginning. Let's start at Genesis. Genesis, on the first day, this, that, and this and that. I haven't read Genesis in a while, but, you just flip open any Bible and you just read right there. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was formless and void, and darkness hovered over the deep. And then God said, let there be light, and there was light, and he saw that it was good, and so on and so forth. So, and that was like the Holy Spirit right there, because I couldn't just for the life of me remember, but yeah, it just popped into my head right there, so that was pretty cool. So that's why I want to make the video today, to prove to you, the viewers, and anyone who's skeptical, anyone at all, it doesn't matter. If you're already a Christian, or if you're not, or if you're thinking about being a Christian, here's where your faith can start. You've seen this video, you've heard my story, and I'm gonna put a video after this intro to Dr. Hugh Ross, who is an astronomer, cosmologist, astrophysicist, graduated from Caltech, was a staff member from Caltech, and he's in the astronomy field. And I'm going to put that video right behind this video. Oh, all right, well, that guy stopped, so I had to stop. I'm going to put that video right behind this video, and just watch it and comment below. and it goes through the different his story on. It's pretty brief on the first parts. The first few minutes, about 5-6 minutes of him going through how he came to the conclusion that the Bible is true. He's from British Columbia, and there's not a lot of Christians over there, and he didn't meet a Christian until he actually came down to Southern California and started teaching at Caltech. And super cool guy, super informative, and super detailed, and he goes step by step in layman's terms in a simple way to explain how Genesis is accurate and how the Bible is true. And once he realized Genesis is accurate, not only is it accurate, but the Quran is not accurate in its view of the universe. And the other religious texts, the Hindu texts and the Buddhist texts, are not accurate when it comes to the universe and the history of the universe, cosmology. And when he compared it to science, to known science, he dismissed the other religious texts and the religions connected to him, and he came to faith in the Bible. And so that's one of the biggest hurdles. I think people are very cognizant that science is the way to know things, but good science, because there's a political side of science, there's a social side of science that is the status quo, and I'm not down for that. I need to know the truth, because the truth is life or death. In this case. So I really encourage you guys to finish that video. You can skip through some parts, but I'd encourage you to watch at least the first half hour of it, sit down and maybe pause it, come back. But yeah, that's the video. This is the video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, smash the like button. Go ahead and smash that like button right there. Subscribe. You can go ahead and hit that little bell if you want to get some more updated videos. I do videos on a lot of different topics. One of them is usually politics, Christianity, something like that. And then I do go ahead and do stuff on guns and knife reviews and stuff like that. Crypto's kind of a thing that I'm starting to get into in the past 4 or 5 months. So just want to make this video for you guys. Any questions? I really want to hear your questions, not just some stupid, oh, I don't believe this and it's all bull crap and blah, blah, blah. Like intelligent, meaningful questions that you have about the history of the Bible, and is it true, and specific stuff. What do you think about Noah's Ark? What do you think about the flood? What do you think about the Big Bang Theory? And what Hugh Ross really points out is that if there's a Big Bang, that means that there is a point in time where the universe didn't exist and the universe came into existence. And if that is true, then everything has to have if everything that has a beginning has a beginner. And so if nothing existed and all of a sudden it exploded, in a science concept, it doesn't work. You have to have a beginner to have a beginning of something. And that something is the universe and existence and all of time, space, and matter that is around us. So I encourage you, watch that video. Tell me what you think. And God bless you guys. It's January 26, 2018 when I started. And oh, look at that, a moth on my windshield. If you can see it right there. In my opinion, and through my life, moths are actually I feel like, just my own personal thing, it's not any biblical or anything, but that's an angel. They're attracted to light. They're out in the darkness. They're attracted to the light. And anyway, a little superstition on my part. God bless you guys. God bless you guys. 87 out.